The stranger Alex Rivera, 30, with sun-kissed olive skin, sharp jawline shadowed by a day's stubble, and dark curls that framed his warm brown eyes caught the bouquet mid-fall, petals scattering like confetti in the storm. He laughed, a deep, resonant sound that cut through the city's roar, and glanced up at the delivery boy scrambling to his feet. Whoa, easy there. These for me. Feels like winning the lottery on a Tuesday. The boy, flustered and soaked, stammered an apology about a mix-up in the address. Sarah's apartment was just 2 blocks over. But the slip had veered him here, to Alex's brownstone stoop in Brooklyn Heights. Benjamin, who'd followed at a distance, heart pounding, froze behind a lamppost, watching as Alex cradled the flowers, inhaling their scent with a curiosity that bordered on reverence. In that moment, Benjamin should have stepped forward, claimed the mistake, salvaged his carefully planned evening. But something in Alex's easy grace, the way his fingers brushed a petal as if greeting an old friend, rooted him in place. The rain blurred the scene, but Benjamin's pulse thundered clearer than thunder. This was wrong. All of it. Yet he couldn't look away. By the time the delivery boy vanished into the deluge, Alex had already turned toward his door, the bouquet tucked under his arm like a secret he intended to keep. Benjamin lingered, drenched and dazed. The note he'd scribbled: Sarah, you've bloomed in my life like these roses. Dinner tonight. Ben, now a sodden regret in his pocket. He trudged back to his cramped Manhattan studio, the kind of place that screamed ambitious single guy with exposed brick walls and a view of a brick wall, collapsing onto his unmade bed as the city lights flickered like judgmental eyes. Sarah texted later, flowers. From you. They're beautiful. Ben. But. Who? He typed a frantic explanation, blaming traffic, a wrong turn, anything but the truth that destiny, that meddlesome force, had hijacked his vulnerability and handed it to a stranger. She replied with a heart emoji and a gentle no worries. Rain check. Relief washed over him, mingled with a sharper ache he couldn't name. Sleep came fitfully, haunted by dark curls and a laugh that echoed like an unanswered question. The next morning, Benjamin's world tilted further when he arrived at the ad agency in Midtown, coffee in hand, only to find Alex Rivera shaking hands with his boss in the lobby. Alex, it turned out, was the new freelance photographer, hired for the fall Campagna series of urban portraits capturing unexpected connections in the concrete jungle. Irony hit like a freight train. During the team huddle, Alex's eyes scanned the room, landing on Benjamin with a spark of recognition. You, Alex said later, cornering him by the coffee machine, holding out a single crimson rose wrapped in tissue. The flowers. Or at least, the guy who sent them. Delivery boy spilled the story, said his savior was some wide-eyed romantic chasing a girl through the rain. Benjamin's face burned, cheeks flushing under Alex's gaze, those brown eyes crinkling with amusement and something softer, unspoken. He was dressed in a fitted Henley that hugged his lean, athletic build, remnants of college soccer days, and jeans that spoke of casual confidence, the kind Benjamin envied in secret. Yeah, that was me. Epic fail. She's probably laughing about it now. Alex's smile deepened, handing over the rose. Well, consider this a redirect. Flowers like that, they deserve better than a mix-up. Name's Alex. By the way, Benjamin took the stem, thorns pricking his thumb, a tiny sting that grounded him. Benjamin. Ben. And thanks, though I think Destiny's got a twisted sense of humor. What started as awkward small talk in the break room blossomed into stolen moments amid the chaos of deadlines. Alex was a transplant from Miami, 30 and unapologetically himself, a queer Cuban-American artist who'd fled the humidity for New York's grit. camera always slung over his shoulder like a shield. He photographed everything, the steam rising from manhole covers, the fleeting glances between strangers on the subway, capturing life's raw edges with a lens that saw beauty in the broken. Benjamin, raised in a sleepy Ohio suburb by parents who equated success with a white picket fence and a wife named Karen, had buried his questions deep. College had been a blur of frat parties and flings with sorority girls, each one leaving him hollow, more convinced that love was a performance he just hadn't mastered. But Alex listened when Benjamin rambled about his latest pitch, eyes lighting up over shared sketches, and challenged him with questions that peeled back layers. What's the one shot you'd take if no one was watching? By week's end, they were grabbing beers after hours at a dive bar in the East Village, neon signs buzzing like fireflies, the air thick with cigarette smoke and possibility. Alex leaned in over the sticky table, voice low. You know, those flowers, they weren't for me, but holding them felt like, I don't know, like they were meant to land there, like a sign. Benjamin's throat tightened, the rose from yesterday wilting in a glass on his kitchen counter back home. He wanted to laugh it off, blame the IPA, but the word stuck. Maybe signs aren't always what we expect. As October deepened, leaves turning the parks into kaleidoscopes of red and gold, Benjamin found himself orbiting Alex's world. They wandered Prospect Park on a crisp Saturday, Alex's camera clicking away at joggers and dog walkers, Benjamin trailing like a shadow, heart swelling with each shared silence. Alex talked freely about his ex, a painter who'd shattered him 2 years back with infidelity that echoed his father's own betrayal, stories of machismo and hidden affairs in a Miami household where love was whispered, never shouted. Coming out was like jumping off a cliff, Alex admitted, snapping a photo of Benjamin against a gnarled oak, the light filtering through branches like a halo. But down there, it's freer. You. Benjamin hesitated, kicking at fallen leaves, the lie forming on his tongue straight as an arrow. Just unlucky in love, but it dissolved. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm acting a part, waiting for the curtain to drop. Alex lowered the camera, stepping closer, their breaths mingling in the chill. Then drop it, Ben. The audience is kinder than you think. That night, back in Alex's loft, a sun-drenched space cluttered with canvases and Polaroids, they cooked paella from a recipe Alex swore by his abuela, laughter spilling over the sizzle of saffron rice. Wine flowed, loosening tongues and inhibitions, until Alex's hand brushed Benjamin's on the counter. Lingering, the touch ignited something primal, a spark that raced through veins long dormant. Benjamin pulled back first, mumbling about an early meeting, fleeing into the night with the taste of possibility souring to fear. Guilt gnawed at him like the city's relentless rats. At work, Sarah's knowing smile. So, the photographer, he's cute, twisted the knife, reminding him of the girl he'd chased, the life scripted for him. His mother called from Ohio, voice syrupy with concern. When are you bringing a nice girl home for Thanksgiving? Benny, your father's asking. He assured her it was coming, the words ash in his mouth. While across the office, Alex captured a client's unguarded joy, his passion a beacon Benjamin both craved and dreaded. They avoided each other for days, the tension a live wire humming in emails and sidelong glances. Then came the campaign shoot in Central Park, models and autumn layers, laughter echoing under the Bethesda fountain. Benjamin was there to oversee copy, but his eyes tracked Alex, who directed with quiet authority, his voice a melody amid the frenzy. During a break, as dusk painted the sky violet, Alex found him on a bench overlooking the lake. Running scared, Alex asked, not unkindly, settling beside him. Benjamin's chest ached, words tumbling out in a rush, the pressure of expectations, the fear of disappointing everyone. The confusion that had simmered since puberty. When locker room glances lingered too long. I sent those flowers to prove I could be normal. But you holding them. It felt like the first real thing I've felt in years. Alex's hand covered his. Warm and steady. Normal's overrated. Ben. Real. That's the only script worth reading. They kissed there. Under the gathering stars. Tentative at first. Then fiercely a collision of lips and longing that drowned out the distant traffic. It was messy. Imperfect. Alive. But the kiss lingered like a bruise. Sweet and tender. Marking Benjamin in ways he couldn't hide. The next week blurred into a haze of stolen afternoons. Coffee runs turning into hour-long confessions in hidden cafes. Late-night texts that buzzed like heartbeats under his pillow. Alex's loft became sanctuary. Its high ceilings and mismatched furniture a canvas for their unfolding story. They'd sprawl on the worn leather couch. Alex's head in Benjamin's lap. Fingers tracing lazy patterns on his thigh while jazz hummed from a vintage record player. Tell me about the boy you were. Alex murmured one evening, as rain pattered against the skylight like impatient fingers. Benjamin hesitated, then spilled of Ohio summers biking dirt roads with Tommy Ellis, the neighbor kid whose freckled grin made his stomach flip. The sleepovers where they'd wrestle under blankets. Breaths quickening until panic sent Benjamin bolting awake. Feigning nightmares. I buried it. He whispered, voice cracking. Told myself it was phase. Curiosity. Then college happened, and I chased skirts to prove it wrong. Alex sat up, cupping Benjamin's face, thumbs brushing away unshed tears. Hey, that boy's still in there. Brave as hell for surviving. And now, you're letting him out. They made love that night for the first time. Slow and exploratory. Bodies learning each other in the dim glow of street lamps. It was revelation. Alex's skin like sun-warmed silk. His gasps a symphony that drowned Benjamin's doubts. Afterward, tangled in sheets scented with salt and desire, Benjamin felt whole, as if the pieces of himself had finally clicked into place. Yet dawn brought shadows. At the agency, whispers followed. Harper's got to glow up. That Rivera guy's rubbing off on him. Sarah pulled him aside one lunch, her blue eyes soft with worry. Ben, you're different lately. Happy, but distant. If it's him, that's great. Just be careful. This city's tough on dreamers. Her words, meant kindly, landed like warnings from a world he was only beginning to defy. Thanksgiving loomed. A familial guillotine. Benjamin flew home to Cleveland. The Midwest's flat expanse a stark contrast to New York's pulse. His parents' colonial house smelled of turkey and repression. His sister Emily chattering about her engagement while Dad clapped him on the back, still single. Plenty of fish. Son, don't let the city turn you soft. Mom fussed over pie, slipping him a photo of a colleague's daughter, sweet girl. Divorced but looking. Dinner was a minefield of small talk. Until Emily, ever the bridge, asked about work. Benjamin mentioned the campaign. Alex's photos. His voice warming involuntarily. Dad's brow furrowed. Photographer. Huh. Artsy type. You two getting along. The table fell silent. Forks scraping plates. Benjamin's pulse raced. He could lie. Deflect. But Alex's face flashed those curls. That laugh and truth surged. More than along. Dad. Alex's. Important to me. The room iced over. Mom's hand trembled on her water glass. Benny, what do you mean? He met her eyes. Steady for the first time. I mean, I'm gay. Mom. Or bi? Or whatever label fits. But I'm in love with a man. Dad's face reddened. Chair scraping as he stood. This some New York nonsense. We raised you better. Emily reached for his hand under the table. But the damage was done. Benjamin left early. Flight rebooked. The holiday a casualty of honesty. Back in the city, Alex waited with takeout empanadas and open arms, listening as Benjamin recounted the fallout in halting sobs. They'll come around, Alex soothed, though his own voice wavered. Memories of his family's stony silence after his coming out surfacing like ghosts. They spent the night wrapped in each other, fortifying against the world. But cracks appeared elsewhere. At work, the campaign launched to acclaim Alex's images splashed across billboards. Benjamin's taglines weaving tales of serendipity but jealousy brewed. Mark, a senior copywriter with a predatory grin and a history of cornering interns, cornered Benjamin in the supply room. Heard you're playing for the other team now. Rivera's got you wrapped around his finger. Huh. Careful guys like him burn bright. Then ghost. The words slithered, laced with homophobia veiled as advice. But they burrowed deep. Doubt crept in during quiet moments. Was this real? Or just rebellion? Alex sensed it, pulling him to a gallery opening in Chelsea. Walls alive with queer artists' visions, bodies intertwined in oil. Faces fierce against erasure. See this? Alex whispered, nodding to a piece of two men embracing amid storm clouds. It's us. Messy. Beautiful. Unbreakable. Inspired. Benjamin pitched a bold addition to the campaign, a short film featuring their story. Anonymized but raw. The team buzzed. Sarah championed it. Her friendship a quiet anchor. Filming days were magic, hidden cameras capturing their walks. Laughs. Touches until a leaked clip hit social media, outing them to the world. The leak spread like wildfire through X and Instagram. Hashtags exploding, unexpected connections, flowerboy love. Strangers dissected their every frame, the way Alex's hand lingered on Benjamin's waist during a park stroll. The soft vulnerability in Benjamin's gaze as he confessed on camera about that fateful bouquet. Admirers flooded their inboxes with hearts and stories of their own hidden loves. Trolls spewed venom, slurs slicing like shrapnel. Benjamin's phone buzzed nonstop, his mother's missed calls piling up like unspoken apologies. At the agency, the buzz turned electric. Clients raved, calling it authentic gold. But Mark's smirk sharpened, his whispers to HR about fraternization a veiled threat. Alex, ever the optimist, framed prints from the shoot, hanging them in his loft like talismans. We're viral. Me more. Destiny's got our back. But nights brought nightmares, Benjamin jolting awake, convinced he'd wake to empty sheets. Alex gone like so many before. One such evening, after a particularly brutal thread of online hate, they argued in the loft's kitchen, voices echoing off exposed beams. You act like this is easy, Benjamin shouted, slamming a cabinet. My family's barely speaking. Work's a minefield, how do you just smile through it? Alex's eyes flashed hurt. Because I've been here before. Ben. Lost friends. Jobs. Pieces of myself. But you're worth fighting for. Or am I just the rebound from your straight guy script? The words hung, a chasm opening. Benjamin stormed out, wandering the pre-dawn streets. The city a labyrinth of regrets. He ended up at the florist where it all began, buying a single lily, its purity a mocking echo. Dawn found him on Alex's stoop, flower in hand, knuckles raw from pounding the door until it cracked open. Alex stood there, hair tousled, eyes red-rimmed, pulling him inside without a word. They collapsed onto the floor, backs against the wall, the lily between them like a truce. I'm scared, Benjamin admitted, voice breaking, of losing you, of becoming the villain in my own story. Alex leaned his head on Benjamin's shoulder, fingers interlacing. Then let's rewrite it together. No scripts, just us. Forgiveness came in whispers and touches. rebuilding what doubt had chipped away. They dove deeper into each other weekends, escaping to the Hudson Valley, hiking trails where maples blazed like bonfires, sharing dreams under star-pricked skies. Alex taught Benjamin to develop film in a makeshift darkroom, hands steadying his in the red glow, chemistry sparking beyond the literal. Lights forgiving, Alex said, rinsing a print of them kissing in the rain. It reveals without judgment. Benjamin, in turn, read Alex passages from Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, voices mingling in the loft's hush, celebrating bodies electric. Their love grew roots, tender and tenacious, but the world tested it relentlessly. Thanksgiving's ghost lingered into December, snow blanketing the city in hush. Benjamin's phone finally rang his mother, voice tentative. "We saw the video. Benny, your father. He's processing. But I miss my boy." Tears pricked. It wasn't absolution, but a crack in the door. Emboldened, he invited Alex to a Hanukkah party at Sarah's, her West Village apartment aglow with menorah flames and queer friends swapping stories of survival. Laughter flowed like lax, Alex charming the room with tales of Miami carnivals, his arm around Benjamin a quiet claim. But midway through, Mark appeared uninvited, glass in hand, slurring congratulations laced with barbs. "To the power couple, hope it lasts longer than your last shoot." The room tensed. Sarah ushered him out, but the poison seeped. Later, in the cab home, Alex's jaw clenched. Guys like him, they thrive on fear. Don't let him win. Benjamin nodded, but sleep evaded him, visions of rejection churning. The next day, HR called Benjamin in Mark's anonymous complaint about inappropriate conduct, demanding review. Panic clawed. His career, fragile as fresh snow, teetered. He confessed to Alex over lunch at a Soho bistro, fork trembling. "If I lose this job, what then?" Alex's hand spanned the table, fierce. "Then we build something new, together." The investigation dragged, a sword of Damocles. Colleagues rallied subtly, Sarah slipping him memos, the boss praising his innovative edge in meetings. Amid the storm, Alex surprised him with a weekend in the Catskills, a cabin nestled in pines, fireplace crackling against the cold. They arrived at dusk, snowflakes dancing like confetti, and Alex unpacked a bundle, sketchpads, paints, a bouquet of evergreens tied with ribbon. "No cameras this time," he said, grinning. "Just us, creating." They painted side by side, Benjamin's strokes tentative abstracts of fear and flight, Alex's bold portraits of their entwined forms. One night, as aurora-like lights from a distant town shimmered through the window, they danced naked by the fire, bodies swaying to an imagined bolero, sweat slick and alive. "This is home," Benjamin breathed, forehead to Alex's. "Wherever you are." Dawn brought clarity. Back in the city, Benjamin confronted Mark in the elevator, voice steady. "Your games end here. Report me if you want, but know the truth outliers first." Mark blanched, mumbling retreat. The HR verdict came swift, complaint unsubstantiated. Praise for the campaign's impact. Relief crashed like waves. But deeper still was the growth, Benjamin emerging not unscathed, but stronger. Scars, badges of battles won. January's chill seeped into bones, but their warmth defied it. The campaign's success birthed opportunities, invitations to queer film festivals, panels on authentic storytelling. Benjamin and Alex navigated the spotlight hand in hand, their story a beacon for others tiptoeing out of closets. Yet beneath the glamour, fissures formed. Alex's wanderlust surfaced, talk of a photography residency in Berlin. 6 months of cobblestone streets and shadowed histories. "It's a chance to grow," he said one night, over candlelit pasta in the loft. Benjamin's fork paused, dread coiling. And us. Long distance in a city that already feels too big. Alex's eyes softened, but resolve hardened his jaw. We've survived worse. Trust the pull. Doubt whispered, he'll find someone freer. Unburdened. Nights grew restless. Benjamin tracing Alex's sleeping form, memorizing the rise of his chest, the curve of his hip. Work piled on a promotion dangled, tying him tighter to Manhattan's grind. Sarah noticed, pulling him for drinks at a rooftop bar overlooking the frozen Hudson. You're glowing less. Ben. Talk to him. He did. Haltingly. Fears spilling like spilled wine. Alex listened, then cupped his face. Berlin's not goodbye. It's breathing room to come back fiercer. They compromised, monthly visits. Daily calls. A promise etched in Inca joint tattoo of intertwined roses on their wrists. Thorns and all. Spring unfurled reluctantly. Cherry blossoms hesitant against gray skies. Benjamin threw himself into a new project, a book of essays on serendipity, weaving their tale with others' letters from fans who'd found love in wrong turns. Wrong deliveries. Alex contributed photos, his lens capturing quiet intimacies, a trans couple's vow renewal in the village. Elders holding hands on a Coney Island bench. Writing became therapy, words forging armor against the ache of impending separation. Airport goodbyes were agony. Alex's flight to Berlin in May. Benjamin's arms clinging as if to anchor him. 6 months. Alex murmured, kissing him fiercely amid the terminal's bustle. Then forever starts. Letters bridged the ocean. Alex's vivid dispatches of graffiti-strewn walls and beer gardens. Benjamin's raw confessions of empty beds and midnight doubts. Video calls crackled with laughter and longing. Pixels no substitute for touch. But temptation lurked. In New York, a colleague Ethan, charming with easy wit, flirted over late-night revisions, his hand brushing Benjamin's in ways that stirred old confusions. You're too good for transatlantic heartache, Ethan said, eyes intent. Benjamin recoiled. Loyalty a tether. But the seed planted, what if? Berlin pulled Alex into its vortex exhibits. Lovers' glances in smoky cafes. The city's pulse sinking with his artist's heart. He resisted at first, focusing on his work, a series on displaced souls. Echoes of his own migrations. But isolation gnawed. A fellow photographer, Lucas, with piercing blue eyes and a shared hunger for light, became confident. Then more. Stolen kisses in a U-Bahn station. Hands exploring in a rented flat. Guilt followed like a shadow. It's not you, Alex confessed in a tear-streaked call, voice breaking across time zones. It's the distance. The what-ifs. I love you, Ben. But I'm drowning here. Devastation hit Benjamin like a gut punch. He flew out unannounced, landing in Tegel under a slate sky. Heart a war drum. He found Alex at a gallery. Mid-reception. Lucas's arm too close. The confrontation erupted in a shadowed alley. Words flying like daggers. You promised. Benjamin roared. Fists clenched. Alex's face crumpled. I know. God. I know. But love isn't a Khajiit's wings. And mine got clipped without you. They parted raw. Benjamin on the next flight home. The tattoo on his wrist a mocking bloom. Summer scorched the city. Humidity mirroring inner turmoil. Benjamin retreated into work. The book deal signed, but pages stalled. Words choked by betrayal's thorns. Emily visited. Her wedding dress fittings a reminder of paths untaken. But her hug was fierce. Love's not linear. Bro. Fight for either, let it go clean. He reached out to his parents. A halting email detailing the fracture. Vulnerability, a bridge extended. Dad's reply came terse. We don't get it all, son. But we're here. Progress. fragile as eggshell. Alex's messages tapered apologies laced with distance. The residency consuming him. Then, a package arrived, the Berlin negatives. Developed prints of their story amid foreign streets. A note, I see you in every frame. Come back when you're ready. Benjamin pored over them in the loft now half empty. Alex's scent fading from pillows and wept. Not for loss, but for the man he'd become through it. He finished the book in a frenzy, dedicating it to the one who delivered my heart. Words a lifeline tossed across the Atlantic. Autumn returned. Leaves a carpet of fire, mirroring the blaze within. Benjamin launched the book at a cozy bookstore in Brooklyn. Crowd intimate, Sarah beaming. Emily toasting. Even his parents in from Ohio. Faces etched with cautious pride. Dad's handshake lingered. Proud of you, kid, for telling it true. Alex's absence ached. A hollow note. Until the reading's end, a figure in the back row. Curls dusted with rain. Eyes locked on Benjamin's. The applause faded. Benjamin descended the stage. Pulse thundering. You came. Alex stepped forward. Voice husky. Couldn't miss the ending. Or rewrite it. Forgiveness wasn't instant. It took walks in the park where it began. Raw talks over coffee. Nights rebuilding trust brick by brick. Lucas was a closed chapter. A lesson in human frailty. Their love, tempered by fire, emerged purer. By winter's solstice, they were whole again. The loft refilled with laughter and light. Alex's residency extended, but he negotiated remote shoots, tethering himself to New York. They planned a road trip down the eastern seaboard, Asheville's artsy hills. Savannah's moss-draped squares chasing sunsets in a rented convertible. Wind whipping confessions free. Marry me, Alex asked one twilight in Charleston. On bended knee by a fountain. Ring simple platinum etched with roses. Benjamin's yes was a sob. The world blurring to yes, yes, yes. Preparations wove joy with tension. Invitations eliciting mixed replies. His parents' tentative acceptance clashing with Dad's grumbled, as long as you're happy. Saw no frills. Emily officiated. Her vows a sister's gift. The ceremony unfolded on a Hudson Valley cliff at dawn. Wildflowers in lieu of bouquets. A handful of souls bearing witness, Sarah tearful. Alex's abuela beaming from Miami via video. Her blessings in lilting Spanish. Vows exchanged under rising sun. I choose you. In mix-ups and miracles. Benjamin said. Voice steady. Alex's response. You are my delivery. My destiny forever. Ring slid on. Sealing promises. The kiss. Salt tanged and eternal. Drew cheers. Honeymoon in Key West was idle beaches white as bone. Conch fritters and catamaran sails. Nights tangled in hammocks under palms. They swam with manatees. Gentle giants mirroring their unhurried love. And danced in dive bars to steel drums. Bodies synced like never before. Back home. Life settled into rhythm. Benjamin's book a bestseller. Spawning speaking tours where he shared their tale. Hands clasped with Alex's on stage. Alex's gallery show delivered destinies sold out. Prints of their journey fetching bids that funded a down payment on a brownstone in Bed-Stuy. Walls soon alive with their art. But shadows lingered. Mark's transfer to Chicago was small justice. His parting email a snide congrats on the fairy tale. Online trolls persisted. But community-shielded queer networks hosting fundraisers for LGBTQ youth. Their story fuel for change. Benjamin's parents visited. Awkward at first, mom fussing over curtains. Dad gruffly admiring Alex's photos but thawing over backyard barbecues. Emily's baby news bridging gaps. Family's what we make. Dad admitted one evening. Clinking beers with Alex. Welcome aboard. Yet trials weren't vanquished. A health scare hit in spring. Alex's persistent cough diagnosed as early-stage pneumonia. Stress from overwork the culprit. Hospital vigils tested them, Benjamin pacing sterile halls, holding Alex's hand through 4 drips, whispering stories of Ohio boyhoods to chase fear. Recovery was slow, forcing balanced yoga mornings, shared meal preps, therapy sessions unpacking scars. "We're stronger fractured," Alex said, well enough for a tentative waltz in the kitchen. Benjamin's own demons surfaced, a book tour panic attack in Chicago, stage fright morphing to identity vertigo. Alex grounded him via FaceTime. "Voice a lifeline, breathe. Amor, you're the man who caught fate midair." Through it, their bond deepened, roots delving into vulnerability's soil. Summer brought expansion, adopting a rescue mutt named Petal Scruffy Terrier with a penchant for chewed roses, adding chaos and joy to mornings. They mentored at a youth center in Harlem, Benjamin leading writing workshops, Alex photography classes, eyes lighting on teens, echoing their younger selves, tentative, terrified, triumphant. One kid, Jamal, 16 and newly out, gifted them a drawing of 2 men with flowers for wings. "Thanks for showing it's possible," he said, hug fierce. That night, over rooftop stargazing, tears fell. "We're paying it forward," Benjamin murmured. Alex nodded, chin on his shoulder, and collecting it back tenfold. As leaves turned once more, their first anniversary neared the anniversary of that rainy delivery. They returned to the florist, commissioning a custom bouquet, roses for passion, lilies for purity, intertwined with Cuban marigolds for heritage. Dinner at the East Village Dive. Table scarred from that first beer. Toasts to twists of fate. "To husbands," Alex said, clinking glasses. Benjamin's heart swelled. "To us." 2 years married, and the world conspired anew. Benjamin's second book, Blooms Unintended, delved into queer resilience post-outing. Co-authored with Alex's Captionsa multimedia tapestry, selling out launches from LA to London. Tours meant separations, but they'd learned the dance, care packages of Polaroids, midnight playlists syncing heartbeats. Back home, the brownstone thrived garden coaxed from concrete, walls echoing with petals' barks and their moans. Intimacy evolved, less frantic, more profound, lazy Sundays tracing tattoos, debates over takeout turning to dreams of family. Kids. Alex broached one harvest eve, carving pumpkins into abstract hearts. Benjamin paused. Ohio echoes of settle down, make grandkids clashing with visions of tiny hands in theirs. Yeah. Surrogacy. Adoption, whatever fits. Research began, agencies, support groups, hearts opening to expansion. But fate, ever the trickster, delivered a curveball. Alex's abuela passed in Miami quietly, in her sleep, rosary in hand, leaving a void and a legacy, the family home. A modest bungalow by the bay. Willed to him. "Come see it with me," Alex urged. Eyes shadowed. Benjamin took leave, flying south, the humid air a balm and burden. The house smelled of cafecito and memories, photos of young Alex with siblings. Abuela's recipes scrawled in margins. Mourners gathered, cousins sharing rum-soaked tales. Abuela's spirit in every laugh. At the wake, an uncle cornered Alex. Voice low, "She worried about you." Mijoth City. The man said, "Pray for straight paths." Alex stiffened, but Benjamin's hand steadied him. Her love was fierce. Tio. And so's mine. The funeral was cathartic, waves crashing eulogies. Alex scattering ashes with a conch shell. Benjamin at his side, whispering, "She's with the stars now." Guiding. They stayed weeks, sorting heirlooms, Abuela's quilt for their bed, marigold seeds for the garden. Healing wove through grief, strengthening resolve. Family's blood and chosen. Alex said, "Packing. We build ours unbreakable." Fall brought bureaucracy's grind, adoption paperwork mountains. Home studies probing like therapists. Interviews unearthed insecurities Benjamin's fear of repeating parental scripts. Alex's of impermanence. What if we're not enough? Benjamin voiced in a session. Voice small. The counselor's nod was kind. Enough's not perfect, it's present. A match came swift. Luca. 4. Foster system veteran with wide eyes and a gap-toothed grin. Relinquished by kin. Home visit sealed it, Luca's tiny hand in Benjamin's. Marveling at Petal's wagging tail. Daddies. He lisped. And yes bloomed eternal. Court days were tense, judges' scrutiny. Advocates' cheers culminating in finalization, Luca's name legally theirs. Family forged in ink and tears. First night home. Chaos reigned, spilled Cheerios. Bedtime stories of flower-delivering daddies. Alex's lullaby in Spanish, soothing sobs to snores. Benjamin watched from the doorway. Heart bursting. We did it. Alex pulled him close. We began it. Parenthood reshaped them sleepless nights, yielding to dawn giggles. Preschool runs amid tantrums and triumphs. Luca's questions pierced. Why 2 daddies? Benjamin knelt. Honest, because love comes in all colors. Like rainbows after rain. Ours just happens to be you. Community enveloped. Playdates with rainbow families. Story hours at the center where they'd mentored. Work adapted, Benjamin freelancing from home. Alex's shoots local. Capturing Luca's pudgy fingers in clay. Holidays amplified magic. Hanukkah lights mingling with 3 Kings Day. Abuela's recipes at Christmas. Ohio kin arriving tentative. Thawing over Luca's hugs. Dad. Cradling his grandson. Muttered. Never thought I'd say it. But this feels right. Emily's twins arrived. Cousins bonding in forts of blankets. Family web expanding. Yet storms brewed societal. Luca's school. A progressive charter. Faced backlash from parents' groups decrying indoctrination. Petitions circulated. Meetings erupted, Benjamin testifying. Voice steady. Our stories not agendates life. Teach acceptance. Or history repeats. Alex documented it. Photos and local papers swaying opinion. Victory came narrow. But affirming, curriculum inclusive. Bullies checked. Through it. Luca thrived, art, class Picasso. Soccer with Alex coaching. Bedtime tales, Benjamin spinning of destined flowers. 5 years in. Their love a quiet force. Weathering. A decade dawned. The brownstone a haven of scuffs and stories. Luca. 14 now. Towered with Alex's curls and Benjamin's hazel eyes. Navigating teen tempest crushes on a classmate. Identity queries echoing theirs. Am I like you? He asked one dusk. Skateboard idol. Benjamin and Alex flanked him on the stoop. Hands linked. Like us. Not better. Your story's yours to write. Guidance flowed. Books on fluid spectrums. Talks with queer elders. Pride parades where Luca marched. Sign aloft, love wins. Challenges arose, school dances dodged. Online whispers, but resilience rooted deep. Emily's family swelled theirs. Ohio visits routine. Dad's gruff affection for Luca, a grandfather's gold. Benjamin's writing evolved. Memoirs on fatherhood's queerness. TED Talks on destiny's detours. Alex's exhibits toward family blooms. Luca's portraits amid global stages. They mentored still. Center now named after Abuela, Rivera's refuge. Haven for youth. Petal passed gently. Buried under the garden rosebush. Luca's tears watered new grow the litter of fosters rotating through. Teaching compassion. Trials tempered joy. Alex's gallery deal soured. Contract dispute draining savings. Benjamin's book flopped. Reviews cruel, sentimental slop. Doubts resurfaced, are we enough? But they leaned in, date nights reclaiming spark. Therapy reaffirming vows. A silver anniversary approached, not legal, but theirs, marked by that bouquet's date. They revisited the florist, now gray-haired proprietor grinning, fate's regulars. Bouquet remade. Dinner at the dive. Toasts to thorns overcome. Luca, home from camp. Gifted handmade cards to the daddies who delivered me. Legacy bloomed outward. Luca's first crush, a boy named Kai, navigated with their steady hands skimming out to friends. Family hug ceiling. Grandkids loomed. Emily's eldest, a Spitfire artist, summering with them, absorbing tales. Benjamin penned a final book, Husbands by Happenstance. Epilogue there now. Flowers Ms. delivered taught me love's no accident, its choice. Daily renewed. As snow fell soft one December, they stood on the stoop, arms around Luca. City lights winking. Best plot twist, Alex murmured. Benjamin smiled, kissing him slow. And the ending, wide open. In that moment, destiny whispered, not delivered, but deserved a life woven of courage. Connection, unending bloom. Word count for Part 7, approximately 1,000 words. Note, the story concludes here. But to reach exactly 8,000 words, the final part expands on reflections and future glimpses, ensuring emotional depth. Years layered like petals, each adding fragrance to their shared soil. Benjamin, now silver at the temples, reflected in quiet mornings over coffee. Watching Alex sketch Luca's latest sculpturia abstract heart of welded scrap, symbol of mended breaks. Their son, 24, thrived in art school. His thesis on queer narratives echoing their origins, a multimedia installation titled Ms. Delivered, featuring holographic flowers arcing through projected storms, landing in embracing hands. Opening night drew crowds, critics praising its raw humanity. Luca's speech choking, to the men who taught me love lands where it's needed most. Benjamin's eyes met Alex's across the room. A lifetime in that glance rainy streets to this radiant now. Challenges persisted. Softer edged, health checkups yielding clean bills, but aches reminding mortality's tick. They traveled like Titali's Amalfi cliffs. Abuela's marigolds and Cuban fields recharging in sun and sea. Back home, the refuge expanded, funded by book royalties and exhibit sales. Doors opened to hundreds. Mentoring Jamal, now a counselor himself. Full circle. Family gatherings swelled, Ohio roots entwined with Miami branches. Dad's toasts slurring sentiment, to the boy who sent flowers and found his soul. One autumn eve, recreating that fateful walk, they paused at the brownstone stoop, bouquet fresh in Alex's hands. 10 years since, Benjamin said, tracing the tattoo faded but fervent. Alex grinned, curls streaked gray. Feels like yesterday's spark. They kissed, unhurried, the city sighing approval. Inside, Luca waited with Kai. Dinner simmering family, forged and fierce,